we are once again for another edition of the Grunge Bible Podcast. This is episode number 240, coming to you on Monday, October 27th, 2025. My name's Chris Salona, and I am joined by Ethan Shalloway, and it is time for you to speak, Ethan Shalloway.
Oh, I've been summoned. How is everybody today? I hope everybody's doing wonderful on this Monday, the last Monday in October. October is come and gone, and I believe next Sunday, the first Sunday of November is Daylight Savings, correct?
Yeah,
Chris?
we're going to save it. This is going to be the year.
And this is the good one where we get to
extra hour.
We get an hour of sleep. And I remember in college, it was like we get another hour to go out.
Yes.
And I don't think that's going to be the case this year.
No, I don't think I'm going to be out. Probably
you never know. I mean, you do get an extra hour, but we would, it was like staying up to see the clock change at midnight for New Year's Eve. It's like 2:59 back to 2.
The worst one in college was when the clock sprung forward if you went out, because it would be 1:59, and the next thing you know, you're at the drunk pizza shop, and it's all of a sudden it's like 3:06, and you're like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
But, hey, somebody's got to be up at that hour. A lot of people are up at that hour, Ethan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyways,
it is going to get really, really dark early, and I'm not looking forward to that.
It's always the biggest challenge of the time of year.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
We're coming to talk with it again. I hope it has something good to tell us this year. But here we are, Ethan, recording this episode a couple of days before it comes out. We're recording on Saturday, October 25th. So just about, we're like 40 hours before this sucker comes out. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Nice.
Well. We had a beautiful, brisk, perfect fall day. Yesterday we burned the pile at my house, which is all the trimmings and of the year.
Some say it's the most important event on the calendar.
It is. You need a good day, no wind. My dad's been talking about just how perfect of a day it was.
Yeah.
No breeze, no nothing. Just, and a couple of years ago, it's probably been about 10 now, and we have 2 acres and, a lot of trees, a lot of wood, and it's agricultural burning. I mean, it's for a purpose. Like you have to take care of your land.
It's not performative burning, yeah.
And for a while, or for a moment there, he had, Dave had a battle against the township because they were trying not to allow him.
This is the most unsurprising thing that I could have heard
and
today.
you know where this is going? Letters and stern talkings. I mean, they tried to prevent him from burning.
They tried to snuff the rooster.
And this is like,
he ain't gonna die.
This is his land, and he takes a lot of pride in taking care of it.
Like
so
I'm a taxpayer.
They tried to tell him that he couldn't burn. Obviously he wrote a stern letter about all the other places that are burning, how he keeps it because there's been a few times over the years where someone has called it in or someone's seen it. Like the cops have showed up and he's like, no, I'm just burning, the property, So
there's 2 outcomes here. Number one is that the town relented and he's allowed to do it, or the town didn't relent and you just gave voice to the fact that you were illegally burning.
Yeah, I think what happened was he wrote letters and got in a conversation, and they never really got back to him.
Right. So
and
it's still in flux.
So maybe potentially still in flux, but we were never told no after the appeal.
People are
if this
in
makes
flux
it
all
back
the time.
in something, that'd be something crazy if this would get picked up. But anyway, so we obviously we still burn. It's a holiday, usually it's around like Thanksgiving or something. We get to push it around. It's a beautiful thing to do. So anyway, it's been a great fall as far as weather and everything.
Yeah.
Like, we played some golf last night, some twilight golf. Me and my brother, we snuck out onto the course and played a whole round in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Slamming them.
Yeah, we were moving fast trying to get him in, and we did. So anyway. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I mean, I did have to go see the mechanic yesterday, so I dropped a half a G right there for a couple of tires and a battery and an oil change or whatnot. But such is life. People spend money all the time.
Spend money all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been really solid. We got a family gathering later tonight, and next week looks good. I mean, there's nothing to report here. No news is good news,
That's it. All quiet on the Western Front. We'll take it.
Yeah. How are you today, man?
I'm good. This is my lone quiet weekend for a little bit. So I had 4 weekends previous to this that were quite busy. We recorded the most recent episode before I went to Philly for back-to-back Wonder Years shows. No rail at Underground Arts, and let me tell you, it was fucking awesome. As if there was any doubt that I would go, and as there would be even less doubt that I would go and regret going. It was just a beautiful weekend. It was fucking awesome. I love that band so much. It was so fun. Got to be with Eddie Vedder, got me through my second divorce, some time with the fella. That was good. A bunch of fellowship went on, had some drinks, had too many drinks, had not enough drinks. It was great though. I made absolutely surgical time, transit down there and back. I left Sunday morning. I was on my couch for the Patriots kickoff at 1:00. So I was really able to claw back what was mine at the end of that trip. Yeah, it was really great.
Maybe even a perfect game, but definitely a no-hitter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I came off the road for this weekend. I'm in the midst of enjoying a weekend home, but then next week I found out that my brother is going to be moving from North Carolina to Minnesota. So the call was put in, and I'm going to be flying down there on special assignment to pack up his apartment, throw it in a U-Haul, and drive the U-Haul personally from North Carolina to Minnesota while he drives his personal vehicle. So I'm starting to get the mind right for that. That's going to be one of my bigger starts of the year.
Right.
The lights are going to be bright. Exactly. It's October.
The Fall Classic.
Yeah, I got to bring my best, but I've had a good season. I feel like I'm really dialed in on the road. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good opportunity to really show what I'm made of out there, and really just pay it forward to the fans that have supported me so far. But before that, we got to rest, and I'm going to be resting this weekend, which is really great. Some family time here and there, just some low time, which is great. So I'm feeling pretty good today. Got some good sleep last night, and things are good.
Yeah, so your mom is a top level patron, and
yes.
I believe that
theoretically,
in theory, she is calling in the one-time move offer to Chris, and this is actually the second time it's been called in. So if you are doubting Chris's allegiance to this claim, here he goes again. There goes my hero.
Watch
him as he goes, dude. He's driving. This is even a bigger move. I mean, this is.
Dude,
18 hours.
It's 1,200 miles. So it's going to be pretty hefty. But I can't believe, this is my mom's move by proxy, for my brother. So
she can't call another one.
There are 2 top level Patreon supporters that have taken me up on the offer. The one time only, if you need to move, I will come and help you move, and I'll drive the truck. So I didn't think there would be any takers, but let alone 2. But that's what we have to do to get, if that's what we have to do to get people to support the Patreon, I'm willing to do it. And if you're interested in that, you can navigate over to the show notes and click that Patreon link. We have a $2, $5, and $10 tier. You can give at any level that you're comfortable with, although the moving stipend only applies to the top tier. So just some food for thought. I'm not moving for $2 or $5, but $10 on the other hand, and you've got yourself a deal. So you can join at any level that you're comfortable with. And you can give more or less if you're feeling inclined. We do have some people that are giving more, namely Abraham and Frank at the top, followed by the Cracker Man in the top tier. And the rest of the top tier, Carlene Salona, who I will be helping move, theoretically. Jamie Lynn, Doug Endy, What the Fuck is Up Denny's, Nikki Six, Black Hole Sean, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, who I've already moved, Sherry Matthews, Gochu John Russell, King Buzzo Stole My Hair, The Michael Dooley Project, A Bit Dusty, Ultra Mega OK, Heidi in Chains, Looking California, Feeling Minnesota, and Grits Likes Pasta. And if I had to say who I think might be the next person to take me up on that, honestly, I feel like I might be hearing from Black Hole Sean pretty soon, to go in and move. I mean,
my money was on Doug Endy.
Doug's got tickets and Doug's got to move. So you never know the day nor the hour that you will be called upon to serve. And, I'm doing my part here in it's just my little corner of the great big war that we're in. So looking forward to that. It's going to be good. Spend some family time and, make some memories throughout, the trip.
Doug's been doing a lot of work in Germany recently. He's an engineer. Yeah. And, I don't know, he might need a house in Germany.
I'm going to fly the cargo plane. I'm going to do it. We're going to roll it.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody that supports us.
Thank you for
the individuals and the Freemasons of the world. We don't have any formal sponsors, but Chris, we quasi, I feel like we quasi ran into a partnership in the last few weeks that you and I both had broken bread at a certain establishment in Philadelphia area.
Oh, and, yes.
We don't have exact clearance to say that we're sponsored by this bar, but Chris,
we are in the good graces of this bar, though.
The Black Taxi in Philadelphia. It was put on our radar for a couple of different reasons, but obviously, top level patron Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce. Lives in close proximity to this place, and it's an Irish bar. And Prime Mutton, a big inspiration to us, went over there, and I believe called it the best pint of Guinness in the city of Philadelphia, correct?
Absolutely. It was rated an absolute creamer. This is Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce's neighborhood bar. It's in Fairmont in Philly. And you broke bread there a week prior to me breaking bread there. And I was informed that the owner of that lovely establishment was a big Oasis fan. Right. So you get in there, get a couple of pints moving, and you obviously navigate to the touch tunes. The first thing you navigate to is the Zin, and then you go to the touch tunes. So I was like, all right, like if I'm in this man's house, essentially, like I need to pay my respects. So I queued up cigarettes and alcohol, and he's sitting a couple of tables away, and like I put it on, the Gallagher brothers start grooving, and I'm nodding my head. He looks up, we make eye contact. He points to me. He's like, "Was this you?" I said, "I got you." And he came over, he cheersed us, he got us around. We talked about Oasis for a little bit, and then he went back to his table. I wanted to keep the party going, so I was like, all right, I'm going to queue up another Oasis song and just see what happens. So I queue up Some Might Say as my next one, but there were a couple of songs in between, and my song was on deck. And he comes back over. He's like, "You'll never believe this. Like, I just went to queue up another Oasis song. I wanted to queue up Some Might Say, but somebody already did it." And I was like, "Yeah, that was me." He puts his arm around me. We got to get another round.
That deserves another round of beer.
And then
right
we
there.
have him. Like, he plants himself at the end of our table. We start talking about music. He had seen Oasis many times this year during the reunion tour. Telling us all about that, telling us about some festivals that he went to, back in the 90s. And, we're just riffing on music because we're all music people at the end of the day. And he was telling us a story about this festival that he went to. And he's like, he's like Oasis was playing, and he's like, Velvet Revolver was playing. But then my second favorite band of all time to Oasis was playing. He's like, "Do you guys know Fountains of Wayne?" I was like, dude, I'm not even joking. All Kinds of Time is one of my favorite songs ever. And once again, I could not have endeared myself to him more. Another round was had, and because he's the owner, he has the fast track on touch tunes, so he just he overrode everybody.
It's his profile.
He put All Kinds of Time on, and we basically sang the whole song together. And we're just talking. He was at our table for probably almost 90 minutes, I would say. And, we're going, we were ordering rounds for ourselves, but they kept getting doubled because he would bring some rounds over. And, we broke bread. We're cheersing every 3 minutes about random stuff. We told him about the Wonder Years who we were going to see that night. He played one of their songs. He added them to the list. And Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce was like, "Dude, you have to follow this guy's Instagram page." So he gave me his phone. He's like, "Put it in." I was like, "Yeah, it's Grunge Bible. We talk about all music from the 90s. Sometimes Velvet Revolver, STP, obviously." So he followed it. So we do follow one another now. And I'll tell you, anytime I'm back in that area, I got to go in and see the great Frankie Graff at the Black Taxi.
It's firmly on the schedule anytime you enter the city of Philly now.
One of the best interactions that I've had in a bar in recent memory. And it was just fantastic. We just hung out and chatted about music for 90 minutes and drank Guinness. So it was pretty great. So maybe the sponsorship word might be a little too strong, but there's absolutely
partnership.
There's a level of mutual respect and admiration, I think, that was honed that afternoon at the Black Taxi.
It sounds like he'd be a great guest on the pod. Bar owner and Oasis enthusiast.
Honestly, forget trying to interview like Mike McCready or something. Let's get some bar owners in here, man.
I mean, let's do it, dude. That would be so good.
Yeah.
I think one or two more interactions and that can definitely take place.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going back to Philly. I think I'll see you there in December. We're going to see the Front Bottoms.
We have a date set.
Yeah, so we'll have to camp out at the Black Taxi and see if we can we can break some more bread. So that's pretty good.
I need to remind me. I need to purchase those tickets before.
Yeah, dude.
I need to purchase them far enough in advance so that I can, when it comes to the day, I won't be like it'll already be done.
Yes. Yeah. It's not going to hurt then.
So yeah, pretty good stuff. Like I said, not an official partnership, but maybe.
Could be.
I mean,
imagine.
Guinness is so in right now.
It is, dude.
Had some good ones in the city. It makes a huge difference having a good Guinness versus
a hook, line, and sinker versus a bad one, dude. Yeah, absolutely. So that's that's probably the most important thing that we have to update about here. But we do have This Day in Music, which we're going to get into. But as you've seen the episode title, we are going to be talking about Elliott Smith today. The anniversary, the 22nd anniversary of his death recently occurred on October 21st. And I know I've been posting about him a little bit more, and we've been chatting about him and listening to him. And we've never done a dedicated episode about him. Obviously not within the grunge sphere, but certainly one of the preeminent singer-songwriters of the 90s and even into the 2000s, and influence on everybody who's come since, I think, who's picked up a guitar. So it'd be a good conversation to have. But let's kick things off for This Day in Music. This is October 27th. And on this day in 1949, Mr. Gary W. Talent, the bass player for the E Street Band, was born. This guy is a powerhouse, longtime member of the E Street Band, going on for 50 plus years. And I hope he has a fantastic birthday today. Born on this day in 1949.
Happy birthday. 76 years old, huh?
That's it. Just a kid.
Just a kid. Love it. Moving to 1957. Police in Oakland, California informed Elvis Presley that he is no longer allowed to swivel his hips on stage, and that in the night's performance at the Oakland Auditorium, Elvis responds by sarcastically wiggling only his little finger while singing. I'm assuming like Dikembe Mutombo, maybe.
I would hope so. Maybe that's where Dikembe got it from.
I mean, yeah, that all signs point to Elvis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't think of a worse thing to be doing on stage than swiveling the hips. I mean, we don't see any of that.
Absolutely
any type of hips moving today on stage.
No, I don't think anyone's ever done anything worse on stage than swing their hips. So
imagine if that was a law today and like artists couldn't, how many people would be pretty much lose their performance ability because that's what they do.
Dude, the police in Oakland, they stood on business. They were not going to allow any sort of tomfoolery or hijinks.
I mean, you could say Elvis probably a huge influence to, the Nicki Minaj and Meghan Trainors of the world.
Oh, yeah. There's
for stage performance.
Yeah. There's a direct through line. Yep. Moving forward 10 years to 1967, a little bit closer to home as far as we're concerned, but on this day in 1967, Scott Weiland was born. He was born in San Jose, California, and obviously, as we know, he went on to be the frontman for the Stone Temple Pilots as well as Velvet Revolver, giving us an unbelievable quantity of great music. So happy birthday to the late, great Scott Weiland.
Happy birthday. Okay, moving to 2007. We're going to skip one, save it for a later date. But absolutely. In 2007, led by Werewolves of London / Sweet Home Alabama mashup. Everybody knows the song all
Everybody
summer long.
knows this one. Yep.
Kid Rock's Rock and Roll Jesus hits #1 in America, giving him his first chart-topping album. Kid Rock was big. You just have to accept it. I mean, that tune, that mashup was like, I don't know, something about it. There's some mashups just hit. Yeah, some mashups are just like super good and really catchy because it's just two powerhouse songs put together.
Yeah, and I when I was a kid, when this song came out, I heard it on the radio because it was obviously everywhere. And I went onto iTunes to try to find it because I wanted to download it to my iPod, but I erroneously downloaded Sweet Home Alabama, and I was originally upset, and I was like, no, like this is actually kind of cool too. And that was like my first conscious iteration or introduction rather into Leonard Skinner. Also, sidebar about this Rock and Roll Jesus album. When I was in high school, I played football, and Friday afternoons before the game, I was a guard, and my center, Sean Kelly, the legend, we used to grab food. We'd go to the Subway around the corner, and we would get in his car after school, go to Subway, and we would only listen. For some reason, he had a CD for Rock and Roll Jesus. He had the Rock and Roll Jesus CD, and we would listen to it when we would go and get Subway. So, yeah. It's just it's a timeless classic.
All summer
with
long,
such
man.
Beautiful titles such as Rock and Roll Jesus, Amen, When You Love Someone, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Blue Jeans and a Rosary, and the killer at the end, Low Life, parentheses, Living the High Life.
Love it.
Top tier stuff. So, happy anniversary to that album for reaching the mountaintop. One more event to commemorate on this day in 2013. The great Lou Reed dies at age 71. And Lou Reed, of course, was known for his work with the Velvet Underground, which is an unbelievable music landscape that I definitely do not have the bat speed to get into with great depth, but we all know their songs and we all appreciate them, and we appreciate Lou Reed as well. He was incredible. So rest in peace to the great Lou Reed.
Rest in peace. That wraps up this day in music for
October 27th.
October 27th. Yeah.
Something like that.
I was looking at another date.
It's hard when you come off of talking about random dates and you have to come back to this date that we're releasing it, but the date that we're releasing it is a different day than the one that it is today. It's challenging.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult.
So yeah, that wraps up this day in music.
Yeah, let's talk about some Elliott Smith.
Yeah, so we have Elliott Smith. So earlier this week, October 21st, he passed away on that day in 2003, about 22 years ago.
2 years. He was 34.
He was 34 years old. Yep. So pretty young, obviously, and a lot of musicians pass away earlier, but in the 30s, still a lot to give, a lot of life, and this guy. So we'll get into it a little bit, but first kind of reaction and first, as far as a fan from us, he was a musician. He was a really he played a lot of different instruments, and he was an artist. And when I hear artists like this, so if you listen to him, he has a very distinct voice, a very distinct style. And, I don't think that he was ever concerned with being the number one in the world, the number one chart topper. That was not his motivation to make music. And you come across these people a lot in the music world where, I don't want to say they're content, but their prize is to make music. And when you get a guy like Elliott and you start listening, you got to unpack some things. You got to really get into it. He's not gonna blow you away with electric guitar solos. A lot of it's acoustic. A lot of it doesn't have drums, right? Or some of the stuff. And I think that when you listen to it a little bit more, you start getting into it deeper. And like I said, I think that he was an artist, and music has such a way of providing for people in their lives. And whether it's just the creative outlet, even listening to it is like a creative imagination exploration. And Elliott, we'll get into some of the people that he's influenced, and here, get your bingo cards out. He was a musician's musician. He influenced a lot of people because of, honestly, a lot of these times when you have the Daniel Johnstons, the Nick Drakes, the Elliott Smiths, these guys wrote music that, for the sole purpose of an outlet, right? Or writing very specific lyrics, stuff that they were going through, and it was just non-performative. It was it was almost like a way to live, a way to get by. And you could tell it was writing with a purpose, and that purpose was not for almost anybody but him, right? Anybody but the people that, and the experiences around him. So
big time.
We hold him in high regard because of just the approach to writing music and performing, and just the, the, what's the word I'm looking for? The pride in his work, just being really proud of what he was producing and how he was producing it. And, that's why, we're giving him this episode.
Yeah, 100%. And as we've kind of come of age in the world of music, and I think have honed our taste, you get acquainted with more and more artists, especially contemporary artists. And more often than not, it seems that, those artists that we love that are making music today, they go on record at some point throughout their careers in an interview or what have you, and they mention Elliott Smith as a major influence, and he was just that kind of guy, and kind of one of those interesting situations where Elliott Smith was one of those musicians that I was exposed to his work before I was even cognizant of it, and I feel like many people, especially at the time in 1997 and beyond, their first introduction to Elliott Smith was, one of, if not our all-time favorite movie, Good Will Hunting, as he was featured in the soundtrack for that movie. And that's been a favorite of mine since I was probably in my early teens, from the first time I watched it when I was like 13 or 14. You hear him, throughout the movie, and especially at the end when Will's driving down the highway to go see about a girl. And I never came back around to it until probably my early 20s, as I started getting deeper and deeper into the music of the 90s. And for us, we started with grunge, but then you go to all of those other different areas, and it doesn't take long before you move into the Elliott Smith land and a lot of that singer-songwriter stuff. And even the band prior to his solo career, Heat Miser, really great band. They put out 3 albums. Their last one, Mike City Sons, is like really good. But it was just one of those things that always an interesting feeling when you discover somebody and you realize that you've known of them for much longer than you thought you did. And the movie serves as a springboard for me, at least, into his music. And, you go through his solo stuff. He had a lot of stuff that was like very minimally produced, like just him basically, sometimes not very many percussive elements. And he had other things where, he's playing with a band and he would play his stripped down stuff with a band and he'd play his band stuff stripped down. And the versatility that he had and the vulnerability that he created from is just really special. And it makes sense why so many people, I think, were influenced by him, because he was probably, I would say, one of the more distinct voices from the 90s, hands down. I think you're immediately drawn to the way that he sang. And I think more so than a lot of other artists, like the way that he would breathe while he sang was an asset to his recordings in a way that I don't really gather from many other musicians. And it's so distinct. And like you hear people cover his music, and like that's the one part that like separates him, is like he just had this delivery that was so unique and so distinct, and it served his song so well. And it's really just like soundtrack of life type stuff that he was making throughout his career. And, as we said, he had those 3 albums with Heat Miser, and there were 5 that were released solo albums throughout his life, a couple of posthumous releases after his death. But you really see a progression here too. You have earlier on with Roman Candle and the self-titled, there's stuff that almost feels a little demo-y. And then it kind of, the production increases, and, just the different songwriting techniques evolve over time. And in such a short period of time, there's such a full picture of what his creative abilities were, because he was able to explore all of those areas throughout those 5 studio albums and those 2 posthumous releases so far. But yeah, man, he's special. I think of Elliott Smith in the same vein that a lot of people tell us to think of Alice in Chains, in the sense that, like, be careful how much time you spend with this music, because it is really heavy. And once again, the weight of his music almost one-to-one coincides with the weight that he dealt with on a daily basis, with his struggles with addiction, mental illness, all of those things. And I think it's almost impossible to write about those things unless you're experiencing them from firsthand, and he certainly did. The cliche of the tortured artist gets thrown around so often, but if we can remove the cliche and just use those words, I mean, that is absolutely what he was. And it's always impressive when somebody can lay plain for us the pain that they have, in the form of art. And he made a career out of doing that.
Yeah. Oh man, a few different ways I want to go here, but I think, talking about his first release, I'm just like reading some stuff, or I read some stuff, and in early 90s, his first album that he released on his own was Roman Candle. And his girlfriend had convinced him to send a demo tape to one of the record labels called Cavity Search, which I do want to bring up that There's some weird record label names
There's
out
some
there.
really weird record labels.
It's like Cavity say it's like Kill the Family Records, or some like they're just like, think of the most bizarre name. Like we're gonna stick to that for our like Cavity Search.
I love it though, honestly.
I know, that's why they did it. They knew their audience, but so they offered him to do a full album at the time, and that surprised him. And he's like, I thought my head would be chopped off immediately when it came out, because at the time it was so opposite to the grunge thing that was popular. The thing is, that album was really well received, which is total shock, and immediately eclipsed Heat Miser, unfortunately. And so he felt that his solo songs were not representative of the music Heat Miser was making. And then this is interesting. He said, the idea of playing my music for people didn't occur to me, because at the time it was a Northwest, Mudhoney and Nirvana. And going out to play an acoustic show was like crawling out on a limb and begging it for it to be sawed off. And I think that's a great, that is a great, photo of, or
analogy,
blanking. Yeah. A great
snapshot
of the time that he was making music, because he went with this crazy, like whispering, very elusive song creation that was coming out at the same time that Nevermind and Nirvana and all this stuff. And this is not like a normal thing to do. I mean, he was going against the grain of what everybody else was making. And I think that's why, he stood out and probably was, respected by a lot of people, because it was not like, oh, this is what's hot right now, and I'm going to do that because that's what people want to hear. It's like, no, I've been working on my own stuff, and oh, these guys want me to make an album. I can't believe it, but let's put it out. It was well received. And then, his solo career, because he played in Heat Miser, I think it said till 96, and this album came out in 94. So this, that
period of overlap.
That opportunity probably really pushed his solo career and pushed his confidence to kind of write and record more.
Yeah, 100%. And it's always interesting when that happens. It's kind of like a two roads thing. But once again, like, because we weren't alive, like you have to take people who were there at the time and their words about it. And like, you do realize when you hear a quote like that, like how, not necessarily big of a risk, but how different it was, to create something that was different from that. Because obviously, I mean, you'd even see it within like the grunge sphere, for example. Like I think about Mark Lanigan, where like, he had solo stuff going on pretty much all throughout the time that he was in the Trees. And, the Trees records always outsold his solo stuff. But the critical acclaim was there, and, the record labels kept coming back and requesting more solo stuff. And, even from that first record, with Elliott Smith, the Roman Candle album, 1 year later you have his self-titled album come out. And I think that's really where what we perceive to be Elliott Smith's solo career, that's where it takes root. I mean, some of the songs, Needle in the Hay, Christian Brothers, Clementine, which is just an absolutely gut-wrenching song, Coming Up Roses, Alphabet Town, Satellite. I mean, these are just like standards of that type of music in that point in time. And, there's so many good videos of him back in the day. Like, I mean, he's touring coffee houses, he's touring, record stores, like things like that. And they're just such intimate performances where like it is just him and his guitar and his words, which as we all, we can tell, that's the purest, display of art, I think, of music, where it's just one person, one instrument in a room, and the ability to captivate people with it. And he certainly had that ability. I mean, his whole solo career, like those 5 albums that he released, like for me, my favorite's always been 1997's Either Or, which was his third. Between the Bars obviously is on there. Say Yes, which became probably one of, if not his most popular songs. But I mean, even Angelus Rose Parade, my all-time favorite of his is the 6th track on that one, called No Name Number 5. And it's just, I don't know, he was so unique in the sense that it's even hard to begin how to describe it, but like there's not really anything else out there that sounds like an Elliott Smith record, and there's no substitute for it.
Yeah, he really stood alone in his space. And I was like, he's a hard person, so a lot of people are probably going to go and try to listen to him, and it's not the easiest thing to digest right away. I mean, it's scary in the sense that you kind of need to be in a right, head space for it.
I've never spent more time with Elliott Smith than when I was incredibly depressed.
Yeah. Like it is a little bit tough. And I, when I listen to it, like the part I like really connect to art is, I mean, we were first shown him through the soundtrack to Good Will Hunting at the end of the movie, and it's so good with like, you know, art and picture behind it, something to do. Like if you're going to go for a walk and be able to like look and take in your surroundings, and it's like, you know, changing and moving, and there's like kind of like breath to your surroundings, or if you're watching a movie and it's playing, like that is going to be a really good way to kind of take this in. If you can really focus on the lyrics, like I said, it can be pretty depressing for sure.
But really heavy.
Yeah. And so it took me a little bit to kind of get into it, I'd say. Like, I mean, just because if you don't want to be down, then you're going to turn it off.
It's the type of music that it has to come to you. Like you can't decide to wake up one morning and be like, my project today is to get acquainted with Elliott Smith's music. Like it's just, it's too taxing to be that, you know?
And he has, you know, he died at 34. He died of a tragic death. And there's a story behind it. So I think that elevates the listening experience when you're ready to get into it. Like there's a lot to the story, and you find yourself like listening a little different, as we know. Like, you know, you go back and you listen, you know, the signs were there, or the things were there with, you know, whether it's, you know, Kurt and Lane or Chris. I mean, there's a lot in the music that comes out. And, you know, I was thinking about it. I mean, you know, we talked about depression and different, you know, mental struggles here on the pod all the time. And music is such a creative outlet that allows you to kind of attack those things. And we see in artists all the time. I mean, I know, Chris, you know, for me, like when it's tough, I mean, it's tough to get out of bed. It's tough to make a sandwich. It's tough to like really have the motivation to do many things. And and when you can create something, and I wrote down something that's as simple as like, all right, I'm gonna create a really good breakfast, or I'm gonna create a really good, you know, fire. I'm gonna build a fire, and you have some accomplishment. You know, the artists had the ability to put in the music, and like I think that, you know, these guys, like, I mean, it really, like, it's like a straight like frontal attack on what's going on in your mind to be able to write and produce a song. It's something that is like, you know, very you know, just releasing of emotions and whatnot. And like, you see that all throughout his music. Like it was just a way to combat things. And it came out, you know, exactly like that. I mean, you can hear it in every song.
Yeah, you really can. And I mean, I don't think there's not a dud anywhere throughout all of his releases. I mean, the last two albums that he released before he died were XO in 1998 and then Figure 8 in 2000. And, you know, there's just so many great songs here. And thankfully, a lot of his live performances, I said, are well documented. And I think he's one of those artists that, you know, you listen to the studio stuff and you listen to the albums, but you know, you can find some great gems out there from his live career. And just all different iterations of the songs, and it's just really, really special. And yeah, the one thing too that I think about, just because I have such great respect for it, because I've always been drawn to, like, you know, finger style guitar. I mean, he was unbelievable. Like I think of one of the songs from Either Or is I Don't Think I'm Ever Gonna Figure It Out, and like it is a like tough song to play. It's like so up tempo, and like the guitar is just so good. And he, as unique as his voice was, his playing style was that unique too. Like I really do think, because for me at least, they occupy a similar space in my head, in a similar mood. But like the same way that like Nick Drake's music and his guitar playing was so unique and his voice was so unique. I mean, I think like Elliott Smith and Nick Drake are peers in a way that I don't think many other people are to one another. And it just kind of like makes sense to think of them together. But I mean, his catalog is so big, and like there's a song in there for everybody. And I you know, for better or for worse, like we all go through times where listening to Elliott Smith's music can benefit us, and I'm just grateful that it's there. And I'm grateful that, you know, I mean, he's been gone for 22 years now, and it seems that he's still in the forefront of a lot of people's minds. And I'm glad that the current generation of singers are keeping his influence alive. Like at the same time that I kind of put two and two together and started listening to him, I got into really, really heavily into Phoebe Bridgers and Julian Baker, and both of them were, for forever they'd been obsessed with Elliott Smith's music, and they've both covered his songs before, multiple times on tribute records or live or what have you, and it just like deepens that relationship, because it's like if this person who's impacting my life so deeply was impacted so deeply by this other person, then like I know I'm going to be impacted like that too. And you kind of get to the beginning of the story that way. You go to the source, and he was the source for so many people, and he remains that way.
Yeah, he was the top of the tree, the family tree that is some music, and yeah, that's always a fun way to, I don't know, analyze the music or the music experience, is like, who they influenced, who they were influenced by, and some really cool connections there. Yeah,
and you listen to these modern artists, and you put two and two together, and you hear that they loved Elliott Smith, or they still love Elliott Smith. Like, and you can hear it too. Like you when an artist has been influenced by this guy. There's so much about it that lives through the music of others, which you pay it forward to the people that are listening to your music, who use it to help them, but you also pay it forward to the people that are influenced by you and choose to create music because of that. And in terms of like family trees, as you just said, for music, I mean, Elliott's is going to last for a really, really, really long time.
Yeah. Yeah, he really, really is. So there's four albums he released?
5,
on his own? Or 5, one posthumously.
Yeah, there's 5 during his life, and then 2 afterwards to this point. Yeah. So, I mean, they're always reissuing and remastering and whatnot. They even did that. I think Mike City Sons, the last Heat Miser album, just recently saw a deluxe re-release or something like that. But it's all great stuff. And like for me, Heat Miser is pretty untapped outside of that last album, Mike City Sons. But and it's interesting to hear him deployed in a different way than what you hear on his solo stuff, obviously, with that kind of being like, my stuff like isn't really representative of what Heat Miser is supposed to be. And it's just kind of different sides, and it speaks to his versatility, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Great band name, Heat Miser.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
He's
that.
Yeah, like I got a Saturday night at home tonight. Like it might be a good night to like light a candle and throw on some Elliott Smith,
I'll make sure to check in.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll make sure to check in. It's tough. It's definitely like, I mean, you listen to it, and it can be tough for sure. And you might not get through as many songs as you want to. You might got to turn it off soon. And,
that's the nice thing about music, though. It doesn't go anywhere. It's always there. So whenever you're ready to take a bite from the apple, it's these apples don't go bad.
Yeah, with all these, there's like a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of artists like this that there's just at some point in your life you're gonna have the urge to listen to it, or it'll come up randomly, and you're gonna be like really appreciate what they did and be like, wow, this was written for this moment. Like I think I like the Daniel Johnston and the Nick Drake are 2 others that like, I don't go there often, but then all of a sudden you do and you want to, and it's like, geez, this is like, these guys were geniuses and for what they did. And that's why I think, the musician is like a funny thing that we talk about. It comes up a lot, but like
comes up a lot because it's true.
Comes up a lot because of it's true. But I think that musicians, like, I mean, especially ones when they get big or people that are starting, I mean, that, you look for influence from, you look for just really what's the word I'm looking for, just personal people, and just like authentic renditions and writings, and with the big stuff, stuff when the record labels get a hold of it, I mean, it's sometimes you can just see right through it, and
fucking labels, man.
It can provide some influence, but I think that like the people that are just out there doing it because they love it, and you can see like the why, or you can see like the raw passion behind it. I had an experience just last week. We were in a small venue watching Delicate Steve, and I'm like, yeah, this guy, like, I mean, you just respect everything that he's doing, and it has way more of an influence and makes you want to kind of like achieve that. So, with artists like this comes up, I mean, I think that there's just a ton of respect because of the way they went about writing the music. And that just holds true for so many people, or a lot of artists out there. There's so many good artists that are not doing it for money and big fame, and that's like very respectable.
Yeah, I would like to close with a quote that I've undoubtedly read on this podcast before, but it's a quote from my guy Mark Lanigan. In an interview one time, they asked him about, why he makes music and what it's all about and what keeps him going. And he said, the one thing I've always tried to do is to make the music be its own reward. And by that, I mean enjoy the process of creation, the process of playing. I always try to take any of the extremeness shit that comes from music out of the picture. In other words, if I never made a cent, if nobody ever listened to me, I would still play music and I would still enjoy it because the music is its own reward. And that applies to any sort of creative pursuit or any way that you spend your time. There's that genuine enjoyment and that genuine curiosity and that genuine drive that can't be faked, that I think we should all strive for in everything that we do. And you listen to somebody like a Lanigan or certainly an Elliott Smith and you're reminded of that because it shines through immediately when you press play.
Yeah, I love that quote from Lanigan. It really sums up exactly what I was saying, you were saying. And, it also makes me think about the Mark Lanigans, John Prine, Kurt Weill, guys like that have so much music. I mean, you can say Neil Young, Bob Dylan, right? These guys that so much writing and different, the writing process and how they did it and just the amount of stuff that they produced. And Lanigan's solo stuff is deep and dense.
It sure is, man.
I definitely believe everything you just said there.
Me too. So that's our brief discussion about Elliott Smith. When the time is right, I implore you to press play and see where it takes you. But be careful.
Yeah. Heed our warning signs.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's solid right there.
That's pretty good, man.
He said an easy place to start is just watch Good Will Hunting.
That's it, man. Yeah. I just checked. There's 6 Elliott Smith songs on that soundtrack.
6.
So yeah.
Wow.
He had his fingerprints all over that puppy. So start him young. I mean, I remember watching Good Will Hunting when I was pretty young and probably planted the seed. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We'll take it.
All right. All right, a little bit brighter. We'll do songs of the week. This is the time of the show where we like to recommend songs that we've been listening to this week. It is not strictly related to grunge, because you guys are probably going to do that anyway. So we're going to, pick a few songs and just kind of talk about what we've been listening to recently. So Chris, do you have some stuff off the top of your head that this week has really moved you?
Yeah, I think so. And this is probably, I can't remember if I put this on the Songs of the Week list way back in the day or not, but I did go to 2 Wonder Years shows this past weekend in Philly, as I mentioned at the top of the show. And I'll pick one of their songs. It's from their album No Closer to Heaven, which is turning 10 this year. And they actually just released a 10th anniversary edition where they remixed the album. So apparently when they released it in 2015, they were having such problems with the mix, and they ended up having to put it out, and they weren't super happy with it. But with the benefit of 10 years in the rear view, they were able to kind of get together and just kind of remix everything and get the record to sound the way that they had always wanted it to. And it's a really great mix. It's a very noticeable difference. But one song that they played both nights, I think they opened with it. I should know this because I was fucking there. But both nights, I believe they opened with the 4th song from that record called I Don't Like Who I Was Then. And the more I talk about it, I'm certain that this was a song of the week for me a few years ago, but we're going to do it up again. I just love that band, man. They mean everything to me. And it's just such a great place to be. And it's just, what
was the title again? Sorry.
I Don't Like Who I Was Then, from No Closer to Heaven. That'll be my song of the week. I have such admiration for those guys, and they've probably given more to me and helped me more than just about any other musician, or band. So, my undying gratitude, goes out to them. So that's going to be my song of the week.
Awesome. It's already on the playlist.
There we go.
Doing a quick check.
Do it again.
That's awesome. So, I don't really remember how this song came up for me. Just looked at the previously liked songs, and I think it was when I was, I don't know, kind of going on shuffle, trying to, get out of the algorithm a little bit. But
oh yeah,
it is a song that you probably know or unknowingly know. And it is Lips Like Sugar by Echo and the Bunnymen.
I do know this song.
Yeah. I think it's probably their top song, but they're a band out of Liverpool from 78, 70s, and it has this, the Cure type of sound and, kind of that 70s English rock. And, just a driving force behind some echoey vocals, obviously Echo and the Bunnymen. And it's just a really solid song, really, really fun. And it's got that weird, I don't know, 70s European disco rock.
Everybody knows what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And it's good. And it was a big scene, man. That was a big scene back in the day. So we're going to put that on the list and enjoy it.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
All right.
2 good entries again.
Thank you, everybody who is following along and listening. Here's your reminder to go and leave a review. We will read it on the page or on the show, that is. Take this time to thank Drew McFadden, our lovely producer.
Fearless.
Our fearless producer. Drew, I hope you're doing all right, dude. We got to get you on the show. We've been saying that. So rock and roll to you. And Chris, I hope you have a wonderful week here.
Yeah, you too,
Busy
man.
week ahead, I know.
It's going to be a good one, though. This is why we do what we do.
Amen to that. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week with another episode, the Grunge Bible Podcast. For now, just rock and roll.
Bonzer.
Peace, guys.